Coach, what's kind of the next step you want to see from the linebacker unit after 5 games?
Yeah, just keep improving. We've identified some things we need to fix. Obviously had a little chance to breathe last week and see how people are attacking us. We think there's some things that we can do that can help them become better, become more productive. So, and then just continue to prepare. You know, just make the game small through your preparation, play fast, and enjoy it. You know, enjoy the battle.
And then Stanford had some super wide splits last year. I guess what are some of the challenges or unique opportunities that presents the defense?
Yeah, I mean, I think great deal of respect for their head coach and obviously the way they conduct their offense. A lot of schematic issues. You know, you mentioned a few there, but there's a lot of them. You know, they present a lot of different challenges to you. They use the the width of the field, splits you talked about, different formationing, motions. They do a really good job, and they have the players to do it, whether it's the running backs or the tight ends, and they make it challenging for sure.
You've lost obviously quite a few players on your D-line to injuries this year. How does that change the way you guys rotate, you know, the rest of the way? Because obviously you had a plethora of guys that you could, and now that rotation's smaller. How does that kind of affect the way you guys go about this?
Yeah, I mean, I still like the rotation. It's not as deep as it was. So I like the rotation, but I also like to see some other guys step up and earn some more playing time. So however that shakes out, you know, early downs, third down, 2-minute, short yardage goal line, whatever it takes. We need more guys down the stretch than we had in when we opened up against A&M. You know, we need more guys to step up now this time of year, and I'm speaking to all positions, not just the D-line.
What is it about, I mean, I guess your defense that maybe causes some other teams to be hesitant in their play calling and to, you know, really look at what you are capable of?
I don't know. I mean, I don't want to own that quote. I don't think anybody's hesitant. I think we've faced some really good offenses and some great coordinators. Brom is, you know, one of the best play callers. You know, moving into Stanford, you know, just the way they call the game, their challenge, every play is a challenge, an alignment challenge, a shift challenge, a motion challenge. So, again, you know, we have to do a good job adjusting to that. But in terms of how other people call the game, man, we've seen everything, you know, in the first 5 games. We've seen just about everything. So it's a great challenge, and this one's no different. We just got done with early downs. We got to move on to third down tonight and tomorrow and put another good one in the books.
One more. Freeman talked about you all focusing on even looking ahead to Navy and stuff during the bye week, working on the triple option, things like that. I guess knowing what you have ahead of you for the rest of this season, I guess what's the advantage of having the second bye week, knowing that you got some tough kind of.
Yeah, I can't even think that far ahead. I don't even know who's after this one, to be honest with you. It's all hands on deck for Stanford. We've had some, you know, they had us on the ropes early last year. The year before, they beat us. So we know what's at stake, and we know what's coming in here. It's a rivalry game, and that's where our focus needs to be on. But I certainly look at as many opponents as I can when we're not working or when we're off, and that's what we did last week. And now it's just, you know, early downs today on Stanford, get ready for third down tomorrow, and move, see if we can't get better moving forward.
Coach, what were just a couple of your focuses last week, maybe in terms of self-scouting?
Yeah, I mean, you know, we dug deep into, you know, self-scouting was a big piece of what we did last week, just to make sure, you know, we're not showing too many things the same way, and making sure we have enough variation to motions and alignments and some of the other things that we're doing. I think last week was also about continuing the progress that we really feel like we've made over the course and the momentum we've built over the course of the last couple of weeks, and looking to go into this week and continue that growth.
What's an area of the offense that might be doing a little better than what we all think, or just getting looked over in general?
I mean, I think there's a number of areas that you can see kind of solid improvement in. I think the thing that still kind of glares out to everybody is, you know, our consistency throwing the ball down the field and making plays, you know, passing the football. So I think that's something that we've addressed. I think it's something that the players have worked very hard on, and I think you can feel it coming. And I'm anxious for an opportunity for those guys to show all the hard work that they've put in.
Coach, I've asked you a few times about not running Riley enough early on. Others may be asking you about Riley running too much because of him getting dinged up. What's that balancing act like for an offense coordinator to utilize your weapons but also protect your guys too? Because I imagine that's got to be difficult to figure out that fine line.
Yeah, there's definitely a balance to it for sure, and I think a lot of it has to do with, sometimes the people that we're playing against in the scheme that they run defensively dictates a little bit more quarterback run than maybe you even want to do, but I mean, these are important football games and we need to win every one of them. So, Riley, I know, is 100% on board with the way that we've utilized him in the run game. Obviously, if we can be in a scenario where we feel comfortable game plan wise, maybe not running him quite as much, we certainly would like to do that as well because we've got some very, very good running backs that can make explosive plays. So.
Coach, I'm curious from my perspective, we look at things like Stanford only allows 88 rushing yards per game, but you guys averaging over 200 per game. From your standpoint,
are we?
Yeah,
that's good.
So okay. From that standpoint, how do you attack it and stick to the game plan? You say you're an offensive line driven program. How do you stick to the game plan knowing what they're capable of?
Yeah, they're really good against the run, and they do a great job of kind of outnumbering you near the line of scrimmage and making sure they've got guys in positions to make plays. We've got to utilize. I think we've got some really good things in the scheme this week that will kind of offset a few of the things that they do. But it comes down to blocking people, locking on people, finishing blocks, and then running backs and/or quarterback finding holes and making big plays. And I think we'll continue to do that in the running game. That's got to be kind of who we are and what we are until we continue to grow this passing game to the point where we got to get it off the ground a little bit more. That's going to have to be what we lean on.
You bring in transfers, guys like Bo Collins, Chris Mitchell, guys that, especially Chris Mitchell, over 1,000 yards last year receiving. What a conversation maybe to console him and say, your time is coming. We're going to get the ball to you. We're going to air it out to you at some point, but you got to be patient.
Yeah, Chris is a complete all-in team member, number one. And, we talk all the time to our guys about what they can do to make sure this gets more consistent, right? And that's really where I want everybody's focus, right? Individually, what can I do to make sure this gets more consistent and gets to be something that we can really rely on and becomes a strength as we move forward? If they take care of that, then the collective will take care of itself.
What did you see from Logan Thomas in fall camp that kind of made him a day one guy for you on special teams?
Just his physicality and attention to detail. Quickly, was early on in camp showing that he was going to be able to be a reliable player and contributing. And so then it's like, okay, you're kind of going off the checklist of we want to make sure we're going to get maximum use off of him, out of him, and not just ruin like a red shirt where he's only playing like one or two phases. So we really feel like he's a example of a good core 4 guy right now for us.
And then with Stanford, they have a wide variety of fakes and everything. How do you kind of coach that into your guys this week?
Yeah, they're big on gadget, big on trying to find ways to steal a possession, make an extra play, and so just going back, looking all the way back to the stuff they did when the head coach was at the previous school, even just to make sure we kind of covered all our bases and really trying to make sure we're sound so we can eliminate any of their explosive plays.
Coach, Max Hoserman, what words come to mind when you hear that name to describe his play?
Yeah, I'd say competitor, fierce competitor. He's done a great job. And so trust, we trust him 100%. And so every time we give him a new responsibility and he attacks it head on and he embraces his role, he loves it. And so, I really think he can keep just contributing, but he's done a phenomenal job.
Coach, what are your points of emphasis during the bye week for your units?
So we went back, we quality controlled and looked over, the good and the bad. I'd say the biggest, points of emphasis were ball security and protecting the football. We have to do a great job anytime we're involved in a play where we could have an exchange, handing the ball from the defense to the offense in a play. So really going back and trying to see, okay, what areas were we lacking a chance or where we caused ourselves to not be explosive. And so, you know, you see it a couple times, obviously, with our with the kickoff return, with the punt return, and trying to address those issues. And then we really tried to hone in on a couple other things that we feel like we've done really well, and increase it, you know, in terms of our kickoff coverage being really a weapon, you know, striving for more, really trying to even get James more and more comfortable, considering he's had 2 really good, you know, games back to back, and been able to make an impact.
Coach, you had some good and some not so good moments against Louisville on the kick return, but you also had a good turnover on field one time as well. I guess in those moments, what's the confidence? How do you spill confidence into guys, or what's your feedback to guys, a reaction?
Yeah, I mean, we go back and we really try and look, okay, what were the key issues? And so then it's, you know, we talk about we want to be dominant. We don't just want to be content. And so trying to, you know, again, we want to start fast. Obviously, the very first play of the game is, you know, unacceptable. And so we have to make sure we protect the football. But it was good, you know, we came right back and forced them to fumble their opening kickoff and start them, you know, inside the 15-yard line, and then SWAT really feel like, or our punt return, we feel like we've been able to create a lot of angst that you're starting to see some false start penalties from teams, and you know, the bad snap and different things. So really just trying to get them to refocus and reload after that play, and I thought they did a really good job, you know. We showed them the first drive, which was the kickoff return, which we can't have, but to put the offense and defense in a bad spot. But then 8 out of the next 8 drives, we really felt like we impacted the game, pinning the ball deep on kickoffs and on punts, and giving a short field on our punt return game.
Aamil, where is your game kind of improved 5 games into starting?
I think the physicality aspect of it, especially physicality and confidence. I think going into week 1, there's nerves there, first career start, but as the season's going along, just be able to know I can do this and know I have the power, the ability, the footwork to just go out there and attack guys. So just physicality and confidence has been the biggest improvement.
And then how was just kind of the communication and chemistry work with you and Rocco since he's came in?
Fantastic. I worked with Rocco a lot in the spring, last fall. So we have a lot of reps built up regardless. And as soon as he stepped in to take the role, he was fantastic, always on point. Giving out great looks, great communication. He's been perfect to play next to.
How tough has it been to see so many of I know you guys are always tight on the offensive line, to see so many of the guys on the offensive line go down during the season?
It's tough. You never want to see a guy get hurt, but we have a good community around the O-line especially, and we rally around each other. So when one of my brothers go down, we'll be there to pick them up. I know I actually live with Ashley and Billy, and so like just spending as much time with them as possible and just keeping our hands around them is the biggest thing.
Jeremiyah, can you kind of take us through that throwback screen, and I guess when did you know that it was going to hit?
We practiced it all week. It's a great play. Like I knew if we caught it, it was gonna hit like guaranteed. I mean, when Coach called, I was excited because I knew I was gonna score. I mean, I knew like the end. I knew he was gonna rush upfield. What we was told to practice to do, what the O-line was told to do is just give a bad block, let him go upfield. And as soon as I seen him go upfield and I ran right under him, I'm like, all right, he's going to the crib. So we practiced it all week and we executed perfectly.
And then in fall camp, you mentioned you added a couple pounds of good weight. Have you kind of felt that pay off this fall?
Oh yeah, most definitely. I can take a lot more hits. Shoot, with the shoot, but yeah, the weight has most definitely helped. I take a lot more hits. I can run through people. And people are scared to tackle me up high, so they go a little bit lower, so I can set up a hurdle maybe. But yeah, the weight has most definitely helped, and it just helps me to last a little bit longer.
Jeremiyah, you weren't here 2 years ago to see what happened against Stanford. I'm sure you maybe heard about it. And it's also a team that only gives up 88 yards per game rushing. Man, what's your thoughts on that? And have y'all talked about just getting your lick back against a team like Stanford this year?
There hasn't been too many. Well, the running back room, it ain't really been talk about getting our lick back, but we have taken into account that we're not letting up that many rushing yards. I mean, we analyze any team we play and we look at all that stuff. So, I mean, that's great if they're doing that. But our goal is, to no matter who we play, just come in and play to the best of our ability. And if they're not letting up that many yards, it's a challenge for us to, get a lot more yards in there allow him.
You coming into the season, you probably had a thought that you're going to be the primary back, or at least one of them, along with Jadarian Price. Did you ever think that this point in the season, or at some point in the season, that you would be second in rushing yards and rushing touchdowns to your quarterback, the guy that, because of his ability and production in the run game, you kind of, matching game for game with his productivity?
I mean, like, it wasn't expected, but at the end of the day, I don't really think nothing of it. I mean, whatever helps the team win, that's really, all I'm really thinking about. How can I help my team? And if, I'm the second leading rusher, second leading, in touchdowns, but we winning, shoot, hey, as long as it's working. I mean,
well, I guess what's the conversation with Riley or thoughts with Riley, because he has a productivity, how helpful, that's helpful to you guys as a run game? Did you expect to have that added piece, I guess, to the run?
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, like, we most definitely expected Riley to, contribute to the run game a lot, and shoot, we embrace it. If it's a design play for Riley and we involved in the blocking game, shoot, we're gonna block to the best of our ability to make sure that play is successful. And we really, as a running back room, we doing anything to help the team win. So whether it's blocking, whether it's running, whether it's catching, whatever it takes to help the team win, we're gonna do it.
Howard, facing Stanford, does it change much for your, game plan going into it, knowing that they're going to throw the house at you guys in terms of trick plays and all that stuff?
I mean, if you look at our past games, like going into those games, we would have expected, we practice trick plays all the time with every team we played, so nothing's different. Just expect everything and be ready for everything, despite what they throw at us.
And then they had some super wide splits last year. How does that kind of impact your game?
We were looking at that this year. It's kind of funny. Last year, they're wide. It's like, don't worry, just keep going. But we were obviously practicing that this year. Again, just expect everything, be ready for everything.
Howard, with losing guys on up front, guys like Tello and Howard, Bubakar, I guess what's the reaction or responsibility of the defensive line to continue to have that type of force up front?
Honestly, it's really just next man up mentality. We always talk about that, and I love them. They're my boys. But if you're like third string or fourth string and something happens, you're up. No questions asked. You're expected to uphold or be better than the person in front of you. That's how it works, and that's good. That's what's going to happen in the next level. And it's good that they're learning that now. But it's next man up mentality for anybody, offense, defense, special teams.
Is there, any frustration there when those type of injuries happen in the moment? I guess.
Well, obviously, yeah. It's our it's heartbreaking to see one of your good friends on the field being carted off. It's horrible. No one ever wants to witness that. But again, when you go to the sideline, it's more damn. All right, let's go. You can't really think about it now.
And the production of the DBs, has that made you all, I guess, the job up front easier or more fun? Because you have a guy like Watson and Schuler back there.
Yeah, I'm very confident in the pass game. I keep telling them when I get in the backfield, I'll get them paid. It's good to. It's again, how old I am. I've been here when Kyle was here, and you knew that if the ball was going anywhere to his specific side of the field, it was covered. So it's a good feeling.
Jordan, now that you have 5 games in the defense, what do you like about Aamil's scheme?
I love that he lets us compete. He trusts us, and he calls the game, and his calls are reflective of that in our preparation. I love that he allows us to compete. He puts us in the best situation to win, and he always bets on us, and I love that the most about Coach Golden.
And then 10 months into your Notre Dame experience, what's that kind of been like on and off the field for you?
Yeah, it's been everything that I expected it to be. Through wins and losses, I've grown so much, so many lessons. I met so many amazing people, been able to push myself and grow in every area of my life. So I look back on my decision, and there's no doubt that I did the right thing.
Jordan, Coach Freeman talked about the moment after with Chris Bell. He said it was probably a regrettable moment on your behalf. What are your thoughts? Are we able to talk to you about that and what you experienced on the field?
Yeah, man, I can't cost my team 15. I can't cost my team 15. Looking back on it, I wish I had handled it a different way. I never want to contribute to our effort in a negative way as far as winning a football game. But yeah, just can't cost my team 15.
In that moment though, or in those type of moments, like Bo Collins had one against Texas A&M, but he wasn't penalized for it. But do you think, as you guys as veterans, your reactions to these teams that you're playing, does it kind of give this team some grit, much needed grit against very competitive teams like Louisville and A&M and whoever you can see throughout the rest of the season?
Yeah, man. I mean, shoot, we're a competitive group. You know what I'm saying? I think that we're a physical and violent group. And, in situations like that where emotions are high, I think that we just have to understand that we play a physical and violent game and that, there's a time and place for it, and that's between the whistles. If you feel like you need to handle something, there's ample opportunity to do it, in between whistles. And that's what I talked to Coach Free about, just being a little bit more composed, in that situation. Obviously you never want to let anybody disrespect you, but ultimately we want to win football games. And moving forward, I'll definitely look at, situations like that and things like that with that mindset.
You have a podcast. It's a little different question, but you have a podcast. You're not talking about the podcast that you host and just, kind of giving us a little information about it, what it's like to be able to do that, with this platform. Yeah,
Sean Crawford, he used to play ball here some years ago. Him and I did a podcast over the summer. It was his. We just had great conversation, and he felt like it was something that I could possibly be good at. He's looking to give guys a platform, looking to give guys an opportunity to maximize their time, in college, and obviously me being here, maximize my Notre Dame experience. And we felt that a podcast would be a great way for me to meet people and to put something in the media portfolio. I'm looking to move into that after football is over. And it's been amazing. Miss Katie is so awesome, helping me get guests, kind of lay down the foundation, the infrastructure of it. And had a great conversation, got to meet some really cool people. And ultimately it's been really cool.
And my last question, you've been able to, because of your athletic ability, you've been able to move around on the field. Did you expect to have to do that against Louisville of all teams? And I guess how important is it for you to be able to just have that versatility in this defense?
Yeah, I think that the way that we prepare every week, if you've been to a practice, watched us prepare, we go all out, and I go to Notre Dame. I play against some really good players in practice, you know what I'm saying? So when you get in the game, you got to move around, you got to do something different. It's not nerve-wracking, you know what I'm saying? It's not, you don't feel out of place because the speed of the game is not what it is in practice. And ultimately our coaches prepare us for those moments. And just speaking to, my versatility or whatever, I would say that just speaks to our preparation as a DB group. Guys know every single position. They sent me out there to do it, but I feel like anybody could have went out there and played corner. You know what I'm saying? That's just how we prepare. That's our mindset in our room. And our coaches do a great job of preparing us for those moments.
You had you weren't here 2 years ago, obviously, but has there been rumblings and just conversations about what took place here, the 16-14 loss to Stanford 2 years ago, and potentially just getting a lick back and just dominating them this time around like you did on the road, like they did on the road last year?
Yeah, man. Ultimately, you want to learn from your losses, you know what I'm saying? But we're a new team, and we just want to win every week, you know what I'm saying? We want to win every matchup we have, whether we lost to them a year ago, whether we beat them a year ago. We're Notre Dame, and we know we're going to get everybody's best, but everybody's going to get our best as well, from now on and moving forward. That's what we've been trying to do, just be 1-0. And, Saturday, Stanford to get our best, and we're going to put our best effort out on the field and try to win.